up. Wait a minute. Bruh. Did you hit the like button? Drop some rabbits in the chat. Let's go.
Hit that like, hit that like. Welcome to the chat. Let's chit chat, hit chat. Hit that like, hit that like. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits, drop some rabbits, drop some rabbits. Drop them, drop them, drop them. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits, drop some rabbits. Drop them, drop them, drop them, drop them. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. If you want the tea, come see me. Rabbit hole is the place to be for real news, not fake news. Celebrity news, breaking news around the clock. Real talk, best on the block. I rock, I rock, I rock, I rock. Real talk, best on the block. I rock, I rock. Hit that like, hit that like. Welcome to the chat. Let's chit chat, big chat. Hit that like, hit that like. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits, drop some rabbits, drop some drop them, drop them, drop them, drop them. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits, drop some rabbits, drop them, drop them, drop them, drop them. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. True crime is my specialty. Exposed in the industry. Unsolved mysteries. Sticking to reality. Fair use commentary. Talking about cults. Trying to get results. Exploring hopes. Exploring, researching, debunking, investigating, being nosy, super nosy, being messy, being shady. Rabbit hole news. That's me, the chick with ADHD, unmedicated but quite educated. Hit that like, hit that like. Welcome to the chat. Let's chit chat, hit chat. Hit that like, hit that like. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits, drop some rabbits, drop some, drop them, drop them, drop them. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits, drop some rabbits, drop them, drop them, drop them, drop them. Drop some rabbits in the chat. Drop some rabbits. Hit that like, hit that like. Let's go, let's go. Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Let's start the show. Let's start the show.
Let me make sure I'm not muted. Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Good morning or afternoon, depending on what side of the world you're at. The hair is always crazy, per usual. Welcome. Happy New Year's. Day 29 of January 2026. Happy New Year's. Happy New Year's. Yes, we can do it. We can do it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Shout out to you. Oh, my God, that's hilarious. Shout out to your child. Oh man. Good morning, guys. Texas Chica, how are you? Welcome, everybody. Shout out to the members. Shout out to the beautiful, wonderful members here in the chat. You guys are amazing. I hope you guys are having a great, wonderful morning, day, afternoon. I don't know, depending on where you guys are at. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Okay. Listen, we have so much to get into. So we definitely got to hit the ground running because, because that's what we do here, right? But welcome, everybody. Hey, everybody. Yes, right. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Make sure you guys are hitting that like button. Do me a favor. Share, support, hit the like. Okay. Yes. Now, before we get started, there's one thing I need to tell you guys. So I know I've been teasing this a long time, but I actually had to do it earlier in the year. So I had to go get a P.O. Box address for legal reasons. So we officially have a P.O. Box for our channel, which I was able to cut a deal and stuff like that with the people that do the P.O. Boxes. And so I had to pay $100 for 3 months. And you guys are able not only to send me mail, but you can send packages. You can send whatever you want to this P.O. Box. Now, I'm going to make sure, because I don't think I have a mod there yet. I don't even think I let the mods know or the Discord know or anything like that. But we officially have a channel P.O. Box. So if you're in the Discord, I'm going to put it in the Discord. If you're watching the replay or if you're watching live, I'll update the description box and it's going to say Rabbit P.O. Box. Yeah. You said yes, somewhere to forward my jug. Listen, I only got it for 3 months. I might have to extend it, by the way. Literally, I was talking to the guy and I was like, listen, we needed it for legal reasons. We need a P.O. Box. It's kind of where we're at right now. Where all our mail can go. So I was like, all right, we got the P.O. Box. Everything's cool and ready to get set. And I was telling them, I was like, all right, so is it just mail? He's like, well, you have this deal where you can people can send you packages if you want it there. I was like, all right, I guess I'll share it. So I've been sitting on this information for 2 weeks and I keep forgetting to tell you guys. So yes, we officially have a P.O. Box. I'll put it in the description box. And then for the Discord members, I'll put it in the Discord. So yes, you cannot send that to me, even though listen, I support the flowers. I support the beautiful flowers. Okay, I do, but you cannot be sending that. I don't think it's still federally against the law, right? Then how do people send people edibles? Isn't that anyways? That's a whole different conversation. You guys gonna get me from YouTube commentator to going to jail over receiving some happy candy. Anyways, welcome, welcome. I thought I'd let you guys know. Let's send Rabbit a rabbit. No. No. A stuffed animal? Sure. Not a rabbit. All right. Welcome, everybody. Okay, let's get it together. Y'all are funny in the chat. Oh, my goodness. Speaking of spending money. So, let's talk about Tyra Banks, who's also, she's on the title and for good reason and good reason, right? So I got into a bit of a rabbit hole and I said, I got, because there's this documentary coming out on Netflix. And it's really the first time that Tyra has ever really like spoken out, right? We have heard so many stories about Tyra Banks and her, how the fame of America's Next Top Model got to her head, and people have spoken out about the abuses and stuff like that, and it always just amazes me. Did y'all know? I feel kind of bad now. People talking shit about Tyra. Tyra Banks is my birthday twin. So I share a birthday with Tyra Banks and Jay-Z, and both of these individuals are not very well liked individuals. Literally, I was like, and I'm not making this up. Jay-Z birthday. Let me make sure I understand. Yes, I share a birthday. We all have the same birthday. She's December 4th and Jay-Z is December 4th. We're birthday twins. We're like all of us. I don't know what it is, but what I don't like, I mean, they're not very well liked. Some people like them and some people don't. But anyways, so I thought it was interesting that Tyra Bank is my birthday twin. Anyways, sums it up. She blames us for her actions. Well, okay. So people are speaking now, right? I think her name is Adrienne or Adriana. It's Adrienne Curry. Adrienne Curry, winner of America's Next Top Model Season 1, which is the season that I watch, took to X to share her candid thoughts on the 3-part series set to premiere on Netflix February 16th. So I'm excited for this. I'm here for this, okay? Again, this is a show that, was available for everybody, for us non-cable people. And so this was a show that I really watched. This show. I like this show. And it aired, I think I was in high school already, maybe a junior by this time, sophomore to junior, when this show aired. And so this was like my favorite show. I never missed it. It was like on the WB or CW or something like that. And I just remember watching it. And I think I watched maybe the first 1 to 4 or 1 to 5 seasons. And then after that, I didn't watch it anymore because I got caught up with other stuff and whatnot. But this was one of my favorite shows. And I thought that it was really cool because you had Jay Alexander, you had what is it? Janice, is it Dickerson or Dickinson? I can't, if it's Dickerson or Dickinson. And even you guys felt some type of way on my community wall. You said, oh, I like Janice, Team Janice. And some of y'all were like, no, Gia Karanji was the first supermodel. Then somebody put in the chat, it was Twiggy Rabbit. So like we got into this thing and I'm so here for it because I want to do a video on this too. But anyways, that's a side note. So there's going to be a new documentary coming up. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. New documentary on America's Next Top Model. And there's been so many horror stories. I think Tyra fell out with all the panelists up there. I don't even think she talks to them anymore. Like they're like not in speaking terms, right? So this is set to premiere on the 16th. And there's a quote here. It says, I'm deeply grateful I won the first season of Top Model. I think people psychoanalyze it over 20 years later with a woke lens. It's absurd, says Adrienne. Said, not holding back. I don't trust people to not manipulate things. I say for TV, so I declined everything. Also, the public is cult-like and cruel, so the last thing I want is a bunch of eyeballs on me. I'm assuming that Adrienne, who won season 1, said, girl, I don't want nothing to do with any commentary on this. Her comments did not stop right there. Please note. Responding to someone who suggests the doc aims to post hashtag Tyra Banks look better than she deserves. Adrian replied, I feel the same way. I worry about the girls from my season who agree to do it. She also called the doc a cover up fest, adding, let them weave their webs. In recent years, Tyra and the show's judges have faced renewed scrutiny and backlash over events during the series' 24 season run. In the trailer for the doc, finally addresses the criticism. Tyra admits, I knew I went too far. So then I got kind of curious. I did. All right. I did. I said, let me I had to figure this out because I knew the contracts were kind of like there was always an issue with the contracts with the top model stuff, right? So I got curious. I said, let me look into some stuff. And I decided to pull there was a lawsuit in 2014 for Tyra Banks and America's Next Top Model, the whole franchise. Now, this is a this is an older lawsuit, right? Please note that. We're not going to read it. I did purchase it. It literally cost me like $27. Typically, they're like $6. It cost me $27 because of it's 61 pages of a lawsuit. So, if y'all want to support your girl, you know how to do it. Okay. So, I got kind of curious about it because I said, well, we have heard, especially as a YouTuber, right, and commentator, and if you're on social media, and if you get into social media topics, I'm sure many of us, and I've been one of them, I have seen interviews from these top models, contestants. They have, opened up about different things. They have talked about different things that have happened to them and stuff like that while they were on the show. And I always kind of wonder, well, like, wasn't there like a lawsuit or something? Did anybody do anything, or was it just like I'm amazed with how many stories there are out here. Where are all the lawsuits? I only found one. And the major one was in 2014. And the thing about this lawsuit, I was like, well, it's only one contestant who sued. See if I can share this with y'all. And literally, I mean, it's an old lawsuit, 61 pages. This is the preview, but I got the original over here. Let's share this one. This is what I was able to purchase, 61 pages. So much she sued for a lot. It was a contractual situation. She sued for IIED, which is intentional infliction of emotional distress, negligence, failure to pay minimum wage, failure to pay overtime, failure to provide meals and rest, and unfair business practice. And it wasn't just, it was Tyra Banks and Ken Mock and all these companies that I remember the CW network, which is where a lot of the show aired, right? I just remembered like seeing the credits and seeing all these names there. I was like, oh my God, she really did go after them. So I was always very curious about, well, what had happened exactly? Now, let me see if I can pull just a couple notes that I was able to find. So this lawsuit specifically, all right, it was filed sometime in 2014. And it basically alleged this model, Angelia Preston, alleged that there was wrongful disqualification, denial of prizes and wages, and working conditions. And reports overall indicate that there was a dispute towards all of this ended up in arbitration ultimately. So even though this lawsuit was filed, there was something in the arbitration. There was a clause that basically said that nothing can be disputed in court, that everything has to be closed doors. However, these contracts were written for the top models, right? They couldn't just take this shit to court. They had to go close the door and go to arbitration. We don't even know how this really ended. We don't know if there was a private settlement. We know nothing of sorts. It never went to a jury trial. There was no judicial rulings on any merits. And publicly, we don't know if anything was confirmed or anything. There was a clause in there that said that they couldn't dispute any of this in court. They had to go through arbitration. Okay. No public recording, no nothing. Now, why this case really matters. This top model lawsuit from 2014 is one of those lawsuits that is often cited and reference when people talk about reality TV show and contracts and productions and public lawsuits and stuff like that. And overall, when you have, mandatory arbitrations and NDAs, there's not going to be any transparency, even if the allegations are of a high profile individual. So there isn't a whole lot to even discuss about this case. I literally went through their docket on the Los Angeles Superior Court and found so much back and forth and motions and stuff, like, but nothing to even tell me, like, well, what happened? We never got answers about this lawsuit. This is a lawsuit that kind of went, it was submitted, it was filed, and I don't know what the outcome was. Only the person that sued can maybe determine what happened exactly. But this is, I think that America's Next Top Model was that show that kind of set the bar of like, this is how it's gonna be. And if you want to be on top, you gonna have to sign this. Okay. It's kind of like those Lou Pearlman music contracts. You're signing something bad, but you still sign it because there's still an opportunity for you to somehow make a name for yourself. It's kind of like that. Like, you're not supposed to sign it, but you signed it anyways. That's what this looks like. I'm sure that they have done better and everything. So I'll definitely do a video where I kind of highlight like what makes sense. It's 61 pages, so I'm definitely not going to go through all of it. But this was one of those lawsuits that Tyra Banks is on it, and so is the CW and a bunch of other networks in there and whatnot. So very interesting. I'm here for it. I cannot wait for that show because I'm one of those, viewers of that show for the first 5 seasons, and I'm here for it. I don't know about the other seasons too much, but the first 5, I was here. Yes, clearly, Shelly, you're making a deal with the devil. And Soul, thank you so much. Take a for everything you do. Consider the lawsuit docs fully reimbursed. Thank you, my love. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yes, so we'll definitely do a video on that. By the way, speaking of fully reimbursed documents and everything, I was finally able to get a hold of the Brother Bilaal lawsuit, which is something that we're going to look at right now as well. Not right now, but when we get to that topic. So we are going to follow up with this next top model thing. I'm so here for it. Like I said, I was a fan of the show. Love Tyra Banks. I don't know how I feel about stuff now. And if this show is purposely been put out there for her to look like, a victim of some sorts, girl, you're not. Get it together. Get it together, girl. Get it together. Okay. So I want us to talk about, man, oh man. Let's talk about Lexi. Where's Lexi? Girl, where's my, see, I bookmark things and then they just disappear. It's like, they don't want me to talk about her. I don't know what it is. Let's talk about ALEXEE TREVIZO. Put a 1 in the chat if you're familiar with the ALEXEE TREVIZO. I'm sure many of you guys are. If you're familiar with that case, we covered that case extensively, right? We did. ALEXEE TREVIZO was the young, or is she was the girl 3 years ago in January. 3 years ago in January. This was 2 years ago. ALEXEE was spotted at a store. 3 years ago in January, she at that time went to the hospital, complaining about pain. Okay. Gives birth to a baby inside of a hospital bathroom. Puts the baby inside of a trash bin. Puts a liner over the baby, a trash liner. Baby suffocates to death. Denied being pregnant. She was in labor. Okay, this is what was going on, right? Now, there has been a lot of controversy regarding this case because, first of all, as soon as they hired the lawyers were like, the footage that was released, made public to law enforcement, all this stuff, like it just became a thing. They couldn't use the footage, so they took it to the Supreme Court. The defense took it to the Supreme Court, basically saying that whatever footage that the prosecution has in evidence, they couldn't use it. So they took it to the Supreme Court. They did arguments, just what is it, in September, October? We have been waiting for there to be a trial on this case, okay? She was charged with murder of her infant child. She denied being pregnant. She put that baby suffocated to death in a hospital, right? A place that's designed to save lives. Yeah. She put this baby in this bin there. Okay, baby suffocated. This baby had no chance. The hospital staff, of course, being upset, they did what they had to do, get in there. They tried to. The baby was already cold. The baby was gone. There was no chance this baby would have survived after being in that kind of, I don't know, area and whatnot. They did an autopsy and they ruled this death a homicide, and so they charged her. She hires her lawyers. And so basically, it's been a waiting game. The defense has done a really good job in trying to delay this, trying to suppress evidence, especially the evidence that we all saw, which is the body cam footage. The argument is also, which is what they entered, these lawyers turned into the Supreme Court of New Mexico, was that the hospital acted as law enforcement agents because of how they were acting. Instead of focusing on treating her as a patient, they kind of broke that rule of being able to just focus on the treatment. They acted as law enforcement agents because they entered an investigative thing, a way of doing things, I guess. I'm sure I'm not explaining that very well. So the death of this baby happened 3 years ago. We have yet to hear back from New Mexico. I have alerts from set up on my email and on my calendars. Anytime New Mexico Supreme Court drops a filing or a motion, I'm on alert. I'm ready to go. I want to know what they're going to do. Are they going to throw out this evidence? Or are they going to permit it? Are they going to say, go ahead and move on to trial? What's going to happen? That's kind of where we're at. We have been waiting. And actually, interesting story is that is how I came across Abby Blabby too. But I came across her on TikTok. That's when I met her. And so her coverage of this case, because it was very huge on TikTok. And there's people that have been on like both sides of this argument of, she is innocent. And there's people that say, nope, she's guilty. And people kind of get into the abortion laws because of this, because of the X, Y, and Z. Ultimately, ALEXEE was pregnant. She gave birth. She could have given this baby. There's safe haven laws in New Mexico. I don't know. Mom was there. ALEXEE was so worried, I think, about, maybe more scared about what her mom would have said and whatnot. More so concerned than the health of this baby. I think that ALEXEE sounds like, at least to me, it seems like she was very parentified. And so mom here, she starts interrogating ALEXEE. ALEXEE, what did I tell you? In her mama Mexican voice. And I say, I could do that because I'm a Mexican too, Anyways, so she does this whole thing, and ultimately, this became a national, international case. I mean, even when I was covering, I had people all over the place hitting me up about everything ALEXEE. I mean, this was the case, that people were talking about. We were all very invested. Anyway, so we've been waiting for an update. Well, Abby Blabby made a post, and I thought was very interesting. She says, it's been 3 years. Read Devin Fierro's mom's Facebook post about baby Alex. Devin was ALEXEE's boyfriend at the time, presumed to be the father. Okay. Devin was in the body cam footage. We actually saw them go to the hospital and everything. And, I guess Devin's fam, I don't even know. Would Devin and ALEXEE still be dating at this point? I'm kind of curious. I don't know if they're dating or not. I do wonder about this. But at the time that ALEXEE gave birth, she was 19 years old. She was not a child. So let's read this. This is the father of this baby, okay? So ARF, a nightmare. This is a mom, I guess, who says this. A nightmare that I never could have ever imagined happened. A day that plays over and over and over at any given time or day without warning. I've questioned myself too many times to count, but the only answer I keep coming up with is, if I had known, things would be totally different. I would have the most handsome grandson walking around playing with toys, asking for snacks, chasing the dog around, having all of us wrapped around his tiny little finger. My heart breaks for my son who didn't get a chance to love on his son. My heart breaks for my son who didn't get a chance to love on his nephew. And my heart breaks for myself. The heartache is something I never wish upon anyone ever. This isn't a post for hate or any type of ugliness. This is a post that I'm ready to post. My family has gotten so much hate for something that was out of our control, and we could never truly express how we felt. And I'm still not comfortable posting all of my true feelings. We've had to suffer in silence while so many people said ugly things about my family. And the people that did their best to defend us, they ended up getting hated on. And people be ugly to them. And I'm sure so many still questions why we never spoke up. Well, I'll tell you why. No matter what we would have said, someone out there would take what we said and turn it around to a narrative that fit their way of thinking. I can almost guarantee this post is going to get shared and get criticized. But just know this. We do talk about Alex. We do talk about what we think life would be like if he was here. Anytime an event is happening, Alex comes to our mind. Alex is still part of our lives and always in our hearts. Somebody in the comments said, I might believe that if her son hadn't taken ALEXEE to the prom just a short time later, arm in arm, they'd show up. Somebody said in there, this is only for a portion of the whole post. For some reason, this is only showing the picture as seen as well. Somebody said for context. This is ALEXEE. I might have to go to the original post. This is ALEXEE's mom. This is when everything happened. ALEXEE being confronted about being pregnant. This is Devin. This is the presumed father of this baby. And this is ALEXEE. And, ALEXEE, she was out there, a very, very pregnant teenager. Okay. Just so people are aware. Now, let me see if I can find the original post. I don't think I ever really talked. I don't remember ever really talking about Devin's family like that. In my opinion, I felt like Melanie, what is her name? Melanie what now? Bejanaro. Sorry. Try not to post so much about this lady. I don't know her, so I think we have to be mindful of that. That's just kind of how I see it. I don't feel like we really got I don't feel like I had enough information to talk about the lady, if that makes sense. And it sounds like I can believe that his mom didn't know. I could believe that. I could believe that all of this kind of happened the way that I did, and things have been really, really hard for them and stuff. But I don't know, man. I don't know. They're very close. They're a very close family. You could tell that. I had a baby at 19, so this case is especially troubling to me. Yeah. Obviously pregnant. Every adult at that game knew she was pregnant. She would look very pregnant. And maybe they just didn't. I'm sorry. Like, you could tell, you know? He was at the hospital after the fact. He was called in. But it's literally been 3 years already. Y'all remember when I remember when I first talked about this. I remember just how crazy this case was at the time and everything. He says, sorry, was her mom said after what happened wasn't bothering her? No. So this is Devin's mom, the presumed father's mother. So paternal side. And I remember the body cam footage, it showed them and everything, but I don't know. He said, I have 3 kids and their moms know that they were pregnant every time. So miss me with that B, says AJ Matthews. AJ, you coming over here with some heat. They do some weird stuff in New Mexico and Texas. You coming over here with some heat. Oh my goodness. You say she didn't know she was pregnant? Well, that's what listen, Maria, that has been the crux of the situation. I think ALEXEE knew she was pregnant. I think people knew that she was pregnant. Okay. Mm-hmm. Did Alexei know that she was giving birth? That might be a whole different question. Sometimes you might know you're pregnant, but you don't know you're giving birth. I mean, I guess that could be one or the other. But this child was extremely, not child, I'm sorry, she's 19. This young adult was extremely pregnant. You could see her on cheer things and stuff like that, and she was pregnant. And not only that, during the time that they did the interview, right, she denied having sex. She was denying a bunch of things. I really can't wait. Like, there needs to be some transcripts so we can fill in the blanks to this, because there's so much in between that I'm sure we don't know. When she went to the hospital, she denied having sex. I mean, and I know, like, her mom was there, and I told you guys, I personally do feel like, and I know some of y'all, especially shout out to my beautiful, wonderful medical staff, but y'all be really taking me to par on this one. I tell you guys, I feel like the hospital staff dropped the ball here in so many ways. There were so many things that the hospital staff could have done different. And maybe it's because it's a small hospital and, they don't have like the OBGYN type of, or the, OB type of area. Cause it wasn't a hospital for delivery. It almost seemed like one of those, what are them called? What do you call those ones that aren't really hospitals, but they're like open 24/7? I forgot what anyways. So it's a small town. They didn't really have like a delivery center or anything like that. She had to, after that, she still she had to be flown out because she was still bleeding. So Alexei delivers her placenta. They can't find the placenta. Now, I don't know if she flushed that thing or what she did with that thing, but that thing, like, as shortly after delivering a baby, you're supposed to deliver the placenta, right? You cannot, yeah, like an urgent care. Thank you. Thank you. One of those, like, make it sound like it's like a walk-in casino or something. No. Yeah, it's like an urgent care. Thanks, guys. Thanks for correcting me. Yeah, yeah. Nana's bananas. Remember, I think it was they had to fly her out, right? So you get I believe, don't quote me, but I think she got a DNC after the delivery to stop the bleeding. Okay. Pretty normal stuff that happens after you deliver, and then they have to check you and stuff like that. But if I remember correctly, I mean, they couldn't find the placenta. They couldn't find anything. The hospital staff, there was people that were leaking photos within the hospital staff. That's the other thing that people don't know. There was a lot that happened around that time. She was a cheerleading practice saying that she's not pregnant and hadn't seen her feet in weeks. There you go. There you go. Yeah, the placenta, I remember, had to push it out after delivery. Yeah, they couldn't find it. She didn't have the placenta. She'd already delivered, but she was still bleeding, right? So, like, I could tell y'all, baby bunny, I found out I was pregnant with baby bunny when I was 3 months, almost 4. Okay? So it's a real thing where sometimes you don't even find out that you're pregnant until later on. If I'm delivering, I'm gonna find out that I'm like, I knew. I was like, oh, the body feels it. The body can feel a delivery coming. So it's a real thing. But I didn't know until later on. And I was like, oh shit. Like, I'm clearly past a lot of like prenatal care appointments, and she's my last, right? Please note that. But it's a real thing. You said the cheer coaches approached Alexei about being pregnant. Her mother yelled at the coaches for body shaming her. I never heard this one. Nana's bananas. Who said this? Oh, that's the first that I've heard of this one. So, anyways, that being said, though, yeah. So it was a first child, and there's a lot of denial. I'm not pregnant, and then don't forget that before ALEXEE TREVIZO, there was an Alexis who actually gave birth and put her baby in like a mall dumpster. So there was that case. So when Mama told Alexei, what did I tell you? She wasn't just speaking out of her, like, I told you about those. So didn't I tell you about this? Like, she was having a moment because she remembers of that other Alexis who dumped her child in a dumpster. Like, that was a really, really real thing, right? So, I don't know. Like, I think Alexei was scared of her mom. I think that's what happened. I've talked about this before. She was more worried about. Yeah, I mean, I think she was scared to tell her mom that she wasn't a virgin as well. The girl was on birth control. Apparently, she stopped taking it. She started taking diet pills. taking birth control for your period, and she's got a whole ass boyfriend. Come on now. Anyways, for me, it's maybe I just read between the lines. So, yeah, she was. I think she was too, because I'm like, are you sure you didn't know? You didn't know she was pregnant? Anyways, so it's been 3 years, and we are still waiting for the New Mexico Supreme Court to give a ruling on their arguments. Are they going to permit some of this evidence that, the defense is trying to throw out? The prosecution really relies on this evidence, to basically move forward. Was there a violation of ALEXEE patient confidentiality rights? That's the other part of this argument too. Please note that. So there's different ways you can look at this. Please note. So we are waiting for New Mexico. But again, just reminding everybody, it's been 3 years since this. And ultimately, I don't know what Devin's mom knew or didn't know. I think that she tried to be supportive of her son, given the circumstances and whatnot. But I don't know, man. I still side eye everybody in that whole group. I think that that's just how I feel. That's just how I feel. But you guys let me know what you guys think in the comments. Okay. All right. We're gonna move on because we have to move on because then we gotta get to this last part over here. Let's talk about the Whittaker fraudsters. Well, we're waiting for the other person to be formally charged or what is the next step? Okay. The Whittaker family, big family, viral family on social media, right? Who doesn't know the Whittakers? If you don't know the Whittakers, put a 1 in the chat. I'm thinking everybody here knows who the Whittakers are. I could be wrong, right? But big family out of West Virginia. Excuse me. And make sure I say West Virginia because some of y'all come in here and correct me and I forget. Sorry, not Virginia, West Virginia. Sorry about that. Sorry. The Whittakers, the social media family who is, I don't mean to offend anybody, but this is how they are labeled on social media. They are the famous inbred family. Okay. From West Virginia. And when I say it like that, you're talking about generational things that have happened within the family that has basically led the family to be in present time. And some of the things that have been highlighted by the family tree, right, is that we have a lot of these family members have intellectual disabilities, genetic issues, and so they go and they get famous because Soft White Underbelly does an interview with them and then kind of follows them for, I don't know, a couple years. And then finally, Soft White Underbelly basically cuts the family off. This family is like social media famous, okay? And there is a history with them. And recently, after Soft White Underbelly cut them off, you had 2 people in that area that decided to jump on the bandwagon of supporting the family. And to be quite honest, the thing when you talk about the Whittakers, expect a lot of views, expect a lot of follow, expect a lot of people that because this family has touched a lot of people in different ways and whatnot, you have a lot of people that are out there giving in the community, and they've given a lot. I mean, even when Soft White Underbelly was featuring them, they had a whole GoFundMe to purchase a house. I don't know exactly what happened with that. They had a whole GoFundMe, like they had people purchasing them, giving them things, donating to them, and God knows what was actually received and what wasn't. Okay, so fast forward, you had these 2 gentlemen. One of them is Eric Carroll, and the other one is Patrick Roark. Suddenly they start stepping in, and both of them have social media experience. Let's be very clear. Before all of this went down, they had a social media presence. They decide to open up a Family Whittaker channel, and they decide to kind of have pages on Facebook. So they have all these pages on Facebook, and then they decide to start collecting donations from the public, right, for the family. Well, then last year, I want to say it was September, there was like a fraud investigation that was open. And with the state of West Virginia, like they decided to open a fraud investigation because they started noticing how the things that these social media influencers are saying that these people are receiving, they're not receiving, including monies, including all kinds of things. So they opened this fraud investigation, and just recently, one of them was officially charged with, some severe felony level charges. Who, by the way, he already had a track record of, like, what's the word, of having some scamming, I guess, behind his record. He already had a track record. So these are the two individuals. You have Patrick and you have Eric. Now, what really amazed me about the internet, because the internet is such an amazing place, right? It's always interesting how things take a different narrative, right? So they get charged, they're being investigated. And, you have one side of the internet that feels like one of them is more guilty than the other one. You have the one side of the internet that's like, no, I've seen all the receipts and I know I can clear all these people of bad doing. Okay, whatever. To me, I'm not going for bat for any of these two individuals. Like, I just don't know. I don't have enough information. They could be very guilty and they could also be very not guilty. I don't know. But I always side eye the situation of, like, it were people relying on two social media influencers to connect these people to resources, not just a one time, but like for years and in months. And somehow we're surprised when people are charged with fraud. I don't know. uh you know it's cool to help, don't get me wrong, but you have to kind of wonder, are they really helping? Is the money really going where it's supposed to go? So that being said, Patrick Roark, the one that was charged criminally, somehow is the victim of this situation. Somehow, Patrick, the man who picked up the felonies, the fraud and everything, he is now the victim. Like, he has been exploited. I guess, I don't know, or people are something's going on with Patrick. Like, they just did him wrong. He has a good heart. So much so that somebody decided to start a GoFundMe for Patrick. These men are being charged with fraud, like at the felony level, and people online decided to start a GoFundMe for Patrick. So there's a woman who put the original GoFundMe up. That GoFundMe was taken down. Okay? Apparently. I don't know how you shape a narrative like that. Like, and literally, I mean, I went to the GoFundMe and it's not there anymore. Donate to support Patrick through his legal battle, organized by a woman who apparently is there to support him. These are very real charges, guys. Like, this guy right here, and he has a track record. He has hurt people before in the past. Again, this is what he had. Let's see, this 2024 domestic assault. This is his past record. Domestic assault, stalking, 2024 domestic assault, stalking. All of this is things that he has done in his past. This is his recent mugshot. This is the West Virginia State Police media release, okay? And they said here that Patrick exploited the Whittaker family to include Larry, Betty, Lorraine, Timmy, and Ray Whittaker. Patrick utilized their disabilities and shortcomings in life to produce social media content for monetary gain that included large sums of U.S. currency and merchandise. However money he was making and the people that were donated, he pocketed this shit. Okay? Allegedly, according to West Virginia, what they're standing on. Patrick collected monetary donations and merchandise that was intended for the family for his own personal gain. So now you have people that are starting GoFundMes for the man that's being charged with this. 5 felony counts: financial exploitation, incapacitated person, 5 felony counts of fraudulent schemes, 1 felony count of fraudulent use of access device. Mr. Roark was arraigned Okay, and his bond was 150,000. I think he posted it already. I could be wrong. Yeah, he did, because I think I saw him out. The investigation of exploitation of the Whittakers remains active, which means the other man who was also named as somebody that they were investigating hasn't necessarily been cleared. I keep hearing that he's been locked up. I haven't heard anything different. I haven't seen a mugshot, so I'm not even going to assume that that's the case. Okay, but ultimately, like, these people have okay, you have adult protective services that got involved, guys. That should have been the biggest red flag for everybody. I told you back when we heard about this, I think it was like last year. I told you guys, I said, y'all, when APS gets involved, how do I know this shit? I mean, I literally used to work right next to them. When APS gets involved, there's something going on. You have your CPS and then you have your APS. APS had to remove some of these adults. That's what it always, like, surprised me, that people were taking it upon themselves to defend certain folks and stuff like that. Because I said, y'all do realize that literally Adult Protective Services had to separate this family, that before social media, everything was fine. I mean, they were able to survive without us, right? They were able to survive without social media, but even without Mark Leda beforehand. Don't forget the story that Mark Leda tells about how he encountered the Whittakers, that he found somebody who said, hey, you should interview them, and then it went viral, right? So please know that anytime you hear APS getting involved in something and actually taking action, like removing grown adults from a situation, it's typically not because of something small. You talk about grown adults. I knew this was going to happen. I told you guys that stuff's going to happen. That's why I was like, why are people defending people? You don't even know what's going to happen with the other individual. What is the APS threshold criteria for involvement in West Virginia that they had to step in? Because what? The social media people were doing the most, right? You have to wonder. But hey, do your GoFundMes. That's ridiculous to do a GoFundMe for someone who already has a record and then now being charged with multiple felonies and fraud. Get the F out of here. I cannot believe it. No. And even for the other guy, I don't know if he's been cleared. Y'all let me know when he is. I don't think he has been. But let me remind you, APS, what is their threshold? Adult Protective Services, not child, adult. What is their threshold to go and remove grown adults from a situation? Think about it. This was serious way when they got involved. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were happy, but they weren't living in the best conditions, but they were happy. They made it. You talk about generational situations, but they were making it. Somebody is going to do a clinical study on this at some point, and it's a really good clinical study, I think, because it's been done before about what happens when people enter an environment that isn't really meant for people to enter. What happens when you go about shaking an ecosystem or somebody's ecosystem that you weren't initially invited to or meant to be there? What happens when that happens? And there's been so many studies, and I think the Whittaker is exactly that. It's like the cautionary tale, man. It really is. But hey, man, we live and we learn, don't we? We live and we learn. Okay. Oh, let me go this way because I want to be careful here. Yeah. Thank you. You can't. It's just any sociologist, any sociology book will tell you that. What happens when you enter an environment and you disrupt the environment? Any sociologist will tell you that you can't just go in there and drop bing and then not provide any kind of guidance support, or even that, just drop anything out of nowhere. Some people's conditions are the way, and they're set the way that they are. And I'm not saying that it was wrong for people to help them. What I'm saying is that their lives have been forever altered, forever, because of various individuals, not just these two, but various individuals that were involved. But I mean, they were set up, honestly, it seems to me. And so when I heard about APS being involved, I said, man, I don't know why social media, why the internet commentators that have never had experience with APS would take this shit lightly and not understand that when APS gets involved in an adult protective level capacity, that's no joke. Good luck with that, because it's never going to be the same. It just isn't. Their lives have been completely altered. Anyways, oh my god, Never is like any sociology book. Go to your library and open a sociology book in it. Sociology 101. What does it tell you? You open to chapter 1. It tells you everything what happens when you disrupt somebody's environment. What happens? Okay, there's so many theories and yada yada yada, but that right there. Any sociology book will tell you that. Y'all are so funny. Let me shout out some people before I get started with this, okay? James and Nebby, thank you for gifting. James gifted 5 memberships. Thank you. Nebby gifted 5. Yes, thank you. Put some hearts in the chat if you've been gifted. And Ellery, thank you so much for your membership for 2 months. My love, thank you. Thank you. Yep. Yeah, I think in some states it is, but it's been happening before it was even illegal. And I'm not saying it to like passively look away from it, but if it's generational and there is a generational situation with what is it? Genetic intellectual disabilities, I kind of wonder how then that affects your decision making and stuff like that as it pertains to that. So there's that. I would kind of keep that in mind, but hey, you know, anyways, y'all are like really having it in the chat. Oh my god, this chat is hilarious. Yes, first cousin's marriage is still legal in some states. I don't know, man. Right. It's the whole soft white underbelly effect, and the internet destroys so much. These two guys that came in were just grifters. Yeah, they saw an opportunity and they took it. You know what I mean? James is like, look at the British royals. Oh my god, James. I'm laughing because the reaction of this chat is hilarious to me. All right. Let's talk about Brother Bilaal. All right. Brother Bilaal. Okay. So I've been trying to look for this lawsuit. And I'm like, I think I told you guys a couple days ago that hey Eric, how are you? Y'all are making me laugh. Sorry. I wasn't expecting all that. Brother Bilaal. I told you guys, was it a couple days ago? I said, I can't find this lawsuit. Where'd it go? I keep getting the 404 error. So I finally went back. I said, I had already paid. I paid. And then they were like, well, we can't find the lawsuit. Sorry. Thank you for the $6. So I'm like, well, let me go back again. And it made me pay again. So I paid another $6 for this lawsuit, right? And I finally got it. Now, this lawsuit, we missed it back in November. We were busy on some other stuff, but we missed talking about this lawsuit. This lawsuit is brought upon Jada Pinkett Smith is being sued. Okay. She's being sued on this lawsuit by Brother Bilaal. Now, some of you guys are like, well, who is that? Yada, yada, yada. You know, this is a person who has been speaking out against Jada for many, many years. He actually did 2 interviews with Aaron and Tasha K and Popcorn Planet. He's done lots of interviews lately, bringing some awareness about Jada and her stuff, her ties to Scientology and stuff like that. And honestly, like, I'm so here for it because I think that this is going to, I told you guys that the more, I'm glad that Aaron talked to Brother Bilaal, because the more exposure this gets, and it really does tie into a lot of the Scientology stuff. This guy knows, like, he's known Will and Jada for like 40 plus years. He's known them. He's worked close with them. This is him, okay? And he's done so many interviews. I mean, he met with Tasha K. You guys know she's well over 1 million. Popcorn Planet is heading to 1 million as well. I mean, he's out there and he knows the ins and outs of what has happened with Will and Jada. I'm here for it. So I was looking for this lawsuit and I couldn't find it. I go in there and I pay again. A shout out to the Los Angeles Superior Court for taking my money again. It is what it is. I was able to find it. I found it. He filed this lawsuit. The lawsuit's not too bad. We're going to read some of it. Some very explosive, allegations. And he's only suing Jada. Okay, Will's wife. I don't think they've been divorced, even with all the controversy and the scandal and the stuff and the cheating and the lying. This just happened. Okay. So, plaintiff, his brother Bilaal, is an individual who's self-represented and brings this action in propria persona, so pro se. He's representing himself. Propria persona, I believe, is pro se in California. Because it's Superior Court, so it's a different Latin term, but it's the same. It's like self-representing. Plaintiff currently resides in Los Angeles, California. Note: plaintiff was previously residing outside of the United States due to threats and harm by defendant's false statements. Defendant Jada Pinkett Smith is an individual and a public figure. Upon information and belief, resides and works in Los Angeles County, California. Maintain personal business and relationship within the county and state of California at all relevant times. So, jurisdiction, he highlights articles here to basically say where venue is proper. Okay. These are the factual allegations. Plaintiff Bilaal, aka Brother Bilaal, has known actor Will Smith as a best friend for nearly 40 years and worked closely with him on numerous professional projects, including set work, professional, business, and brand development. This relationship is confirmed by Will Smith's published memoir, Will, which featured plaintiff's name and a photograph, and public testimony by actor D.L. Hughley. Through his relationship, plaintiff also developed extensive personal and professional familiarity with defendant Jada. On or about September 25th, 2021, plaintiff attended a private birthday gathering for Will Smith at the Regency Calabasas Common. Okay, the nice little rich areas. While in the lobby, defendant Jada approached plaintiff with approximately 7 members of her entourage, became verbally aggressive, and threatened plaintiff by stating that if he continued telling her personal business, he would end up missing or catch a bullet, and demanded that he sign a non-disclosure agreement or else. Pause, breaks. This happened on December 25th, 2021. That wasn't even 5 years ago. That wasn't even 2 years ago. That's, depending on what the statute of limitations, that is, I think he's suing for intentional infliction of emotional distress. Let me see. Hold up. Let me check something. I'm trying to be very careful when I go up because it has this information. Intentional infliction of emotional distress, 3 counts. Yeah, and I think that is a statute of limitations is 2 to 3 years in California. I think I was looking at that. And which means that he's able to sue, and then anything else that's regurgitated or it would reset the time bar. So after the confrontation, one of the defendant's associates followed plaintiff to his car while continuing to issue verbal threats. On or about March 28, 2022, shortly after the Academy Awards, plaintiff received a call after Dwayne Martin, who stated that Will and defendant urgently needed plaintiff's help with crisis management for an incident. So Brother Bilaal receives a threat from Jada. He's made to sign a non-disclosure demand, an agreement. And then after the confrontation, he's followed by one of the associates where those verbal threats continue. And then fast forward to 2022, shortly after the Academy Awards, plaintiffs receives a call from Dwayne Martin and basically said that Will Smith and the defendant urgently needed plaintiff's help with a crisis management incident. They're still calling him. Okay. Plaintiff refused to perform tasks he believed were illegal, unethical, or moral immoral. I think that's what he meant to say there. Excuse me, morally compromising, stating his conscience would not allow him to be involved in any cover up or deceptive PR campaign. Dwayne Martin warned plaintiff that he would face serious problems with defendant Jada for refusing to help. Following plaintiff's refusal, a retaliatory campaign was launched against him, including threats for individuals closely associated with Will and Jada, specifically Charlie Mack, Omar, and Pierce Austin. Threats escalated after it became known that plaintiff was writing a whistleblower memoir detailing his experience with the Smiths. In efforts to protect himself and document the events, plaintiff began speaking publicly. One such interview went viral, receiving global media attention. In response, defendant began a coordinated media smear campaign against plaintiff. Rather than pursue legal recourse or report actual crimes, defendant intentionally and maliciously engaged in a smear campaign through nationally broadcast interviews. Now, let me say this. I remember when when Brother Bilaal went on Tasha K, and Jada was so upset. There's a clip and video out there, and Jada was like, she was asked outside by like paparazzi, hey, what are you going to do about this? She gets in this like SUV, I'm going to sue them. And she goes in there and she closes the door. Now, around that time, I remember that was around the time that she was releasing that book that she was doing, that memoir book, I think. Yeah, we're suing. Y'all remember, Jules? You guys remember that? Yes. You can't force them, but that means you won't get their business if you don't write. Ooh, right. You can't force anybody to sign an NDA, can they? It's been said before. You said he did an interview with Tasha K over 2 years ago, more recently. So he did that interview, and then he did another one, which you guys can check out on the Tasha K app, right? And I think that this is interesting because, guys, like, all right, I don't know if I would necessarily agree with this anymore. Maybe I would have 5 years ago. But Will Smith and Jada, they're not the powerhouses that they used to be. And part of it isn't really like, oh, it's like the popularity has shifted. Does that make sense? Like, if you are a powerhouse, maybe in the industry and stuff like that, like if you're working in the industry, but they're not the figures that hold weight like they used to before, especially now because you have the social media aspect. Now, of course, you have a lot of those powerhouse celebrities trying to align themselves with social media and be able to maneuver both, right? But there has been a definite shift that I wouldn't necessarily consider Will or Jada as like powerhouses and their reach is so great, because there's other people that have more reach now. Their celebrityism has dwindled a little bit. Just my thought, okay? But you guys let me know. See, Jules, you remember when she said, we're suing. She was asked about Tasha K in that interview. We're suing. Yeah. So then it further goes, okay? It further goes. So he is suing for the IIED, intentional infliction of emotional distress, the Breakfast Club false accusation. So plaintiff, who is incorporated in the paragraphs, on or about, he should have checked his lawsuit, because here it says insert exact approximate date. He didn't proofread the lawsuit. Defendant Jada appeared on the nationally syndicated radio program The Breakfast Club, broadcast globally via iHeartRadio. During the interview, defendant falsely stated that plaintiff had attempted a money shakedown of her husband and her husband, Will Smith, suggesting plaintiff engage in criminal extortion. Ooh. Defendant also repeated plaintiff's exact quote, murder, kill, and laughed, implying mental instability or criminal conduct. During the interview, defendant admitted that she didn't have all the facts, demonstrated her reckless disregard for the truth. So there's some exhibits here, which I don't think we have. They might be submitted somewhere else. Although defendant did not say plaintiff's name, the statements were immediately recognized by the public and media as being about plaintiff, leading to headlines and YouTube comments explicitly using plaintiff's full name in connection with the false money shakedown story. The accusation of criminal behavior was outrageous, malicious, and made with actual malice in retaliation of plaintiff's protected whistleblower speech. Now, I could be wrong, but whistleblower speech, when does it apply? If he had a contractual relationship with, I mean, a friendship could also be a contractual relationship too, depending on what state you're looking at. But let me see something. Whistleblower speech in California. Contractual relationships. Kind of curious. And I'm assuming that they would have had like a written something. So if he was an employee, which I'm assuming he's including himself as an employee, which kind of made me wonder, why didn't he sue for like anything related to employment as well? So, California Labor Code protects employees in contracts who disclose or refuse to participate in suspected illegal activities, unsafe working conditions, or noncompliance with rules. So, it protects employees and independent contractors. If he was an employee or even an independent contractor, which he said he was a friend, right? And sometimes how contracts work, you can have a contract with a friend too. It doesn't always have to be in writing. He could very well be protected under that, but I do wonder why he didn't list that in the California code or something. That would have probably helped this lawsuit a little bit more. No, not always. Sometimes it could be in any work environment too. So it really depends. The whistleblower can stretch. There are different whistleblowers laws. In California, though, it depends on the claim and who they're blowing up to, right? So he's saying here that they are violating his whistleblower. Ooh, did I mishighlighted this? Hold up. Yeah, here it is. The accusation of criminal behavior was outrageous, malicious, and made with actual malice and retaliation of plaintiff's protected whistleblower speech. He really should have cited, not me trying to tell him what he should have done. I would have come up here and maybe put, because he's only suing for this. Was he wrongfully terminated for whistleblowing? I have to wonder. Like, he's only suing for the IIED. He should have added something about whistleblowing there. Just out of curiosity. Defendant's conduct satisfies the element for intentional infliction of emotional distress under California law of extreme and outrageous conduct intended to cause or reckless disregard for emotional distress, severe suffering, and causation. Okay, second clause, because there's 3 counts. Excuse me, second cause, there's 3 counts. Plaintiff, incorporated by reference paragraph 1 through 25, are those fully set forth herein. Days after the Breakfast Club interview, defendant was captured by TMZ public statement. We're suing in direct response to questions about plaintiff's viral claim. The statement was interpreted by the public and press to mean that both Will and Jada were planning to file the lawsuit against plaintiff, which led to major networks publishing stories linking her statements to plaintiff. Defendant never filed a lawsuit. The statement was false, reckless, and made with malicious intent to manipulate public opinion and damage plaintiff's character. Then the question becomes, how does somebody saying that they're going to sue you, threats of lawsuit, you're going to have to find that argument. How does somebody threatening to sue you, or at least in not following through, could that satisfy an IIED claim? I don't know. Defendant never filed a lawsuit. Okay. And because the Smiths are high profile figures, the false statements created a presumption that they had credible evidence and valid legal claims against plaintiff, leading the public to believe plaintiff had committed a serious offense, such as blackmail or defamation. If you're accusing me of criminal extortion, that in itself is defamation, right? You're accusing me of, if you're saying you extorted me and my husband, I mean, you're accusing me of committing a crime. That would be defamation. I do wonder kind of where he went, especially given the power dynamics. Brother Bilaal has some social media following, but he doesn't have, like, if you were to compare it to the following and Hollywood prestige of the Smiths, it's a little bit different, okay? The widespread amplification of this false threat of legal action constitutes extreme and outrageous conduct, causing severe emotional distress. Okay. Now, third cause of action, okay? And this is the IIED, false denial of witnessing Will Smith with men. False denial of witnessing Will Smith with men. Brother Bilaal made a lot of allegations, just so people are aware. Plaintiff incorporates by reference paragraph 1 through 31. Okay, on or about, insert exact date. Brother Bilaal, you should have read this before you submitted it, because you needed to insert the date here. That's the second one that I've seen. People need to proofread these. And by the way, I've seen this too before with attorneys that don't proofread their lawsuits. This is the kind of stuff that shows up. On or about, defendant was interviewed by TMZ and asked directly whether she had ever seen Will Smith engage in sexual or intimate behavior with men. To which she responded no, denying all allegations. This was a false denial, as plaintiff had already released a viral video showing Will groping Alfonso Ribeiro. Not Carlton. That's Carlton. This is, as plaintiff had already released, a viral video showing Will Smith groping Alfonso Ribeiro. I'm pretty sure that that's Carlton, including his area and top area and bottom areas, in front of defendant and children who were visibly present. This is Carlton, isn't it? I'm pretty sure Alfonso Ribeiro is Carlton. Yes, it is. I was like, not Carlton. Oh no. I was like, let me Google search the name. Sure enough, I was like, isn't that Carlton? He couldn't control, but there was a I'm sorry. I'm like laughing because I was like, that's Carlton. He didn't do that. I mean, they worked together. I don't know. Yeah, there's that too. PhD Gold V. I'm sorry. I was not expecting that. I'm reacting to this lawsuit. I hadn't read it before. Now I'm reading it with you guys. So I'm like, what? It's not Carlton. Okay. So there is a video out there where Will Smith is actually groping. Now, hold up. I want to go back a little bit because I'm a little confused. Because he's saying that Jada was interviewed by TMZ and asked directly whether she had seen Will Smith engage in any or intimate behavior with men, to which she responded no. And Brother Bilaal here is saying, well, that's false. That's a false denial, because there was a viral video that was out there that was released that showed Will Smith engaging in what one could perceive some type of a sexual kind of behavior or intimate behavior in front of people. I could see where this argument could get some pushback, though. But it further says defendant was in the footage, appearing on camera during the exact incident she later denied seeing. But she wasn't asked about the incident. She was asked whether she had ever seen or witnessed Will Smith engaging. So there's some, this needs a little bit more to it. Defendant's false denial was a deliberate effort to discredit plaintiff and imply that his prior truthful statements about Will Smith were inaccurate, delusional, and fabricated, causing severe public ridicule and loss of credibility. Okay. So by Jada denying this made plaintiff lose credibility about that allegation or allegations. And losing credibility for Brother Bilaal, I mean, he's a truth speaker, right? He's exposing these things. So that would make him lose his credibility if Jada goes out on record and discredits him. As the spouse of Will Smith and a direct witness to the event, her false denial carried increased public weight and contributed to plaintiff's emotional distress and reputational harm and public ridicule. Additional allegations of extreme and outrageous conduct. So plaintiff's disclosures attempts were made by defendant and her emissaries to intimidate bride and suppress plaintiff. On or about November 14, 2023, plaintiff received a cease and desist letter on behalf of Will Smith from legal representative Kenneth Hurst. Ooh. Uh, falsely denying plaintiff's relationship or friendship with Mr. Smith, falsely claiming plaintiff never worked as his assistant, and accusing plaintiff of attempted extortion while threatening imminent legal action unless he issued a humiliating and acknowledging false public statement. Hold up. So this is where I think Brother Bilaal has a little bit of merit here, because he said that he's been friends. He said that they had a friendship for 40 years. Now, again, people get contracts confused. Just because you don't have something in writing doesn't make it contractually not true. Like there could be an obligation. If I have a friend of 40 years, okay, and I tell my best friend, all right, like, can you help me design this? And we design this thing together, whatever it may be. And, even though there's nothing written on paper, even though it's the safest thing to do, but there could have been some kind of verbal contractual thing, especially if I was receiving some kind of monetary help. I'm able to show that. So I can believe that Brother Bilaal was there helping and that he was his assistant, even though on paper he's not the assistant. But I could see where that argument could be made of like, listen, I might have not gotten a whatever tax form or something to file my taxes, but I was his assistant. Look at me making myself available on these days, and this is what I did. This is the work that I did. So I could see where he's able to argue that, and able to swing that as well. Okay. Um, so then the lawyer's going to do what the lawyer does, which is, threaten legal action, especially on a C&D. Also, on or about November 14, 2023, plaintiff received a call from Troy Carter, a world-renowned talent manager, explicitly stating that he was calling on behalf of defendant Jada to work something out and to end his feud before you get physically hurt. Jada is not this like sweet, soft woman. She never really seemed like that to me. She's if this call happened, I mean, I don't know if it was recorded, but damn, like she's over here let's work something out before you get hurt. In this feud before you get physically hurt, stressing that continued media disclosures or release of plaintiff's memoir would put plaintiff in serious danger. Mr. Carter then connected plaintiff to defendant's close associates, Charlie Mack, who reiterated that both Will and Jada wanted to negotiate to prevent the publication of his memoir. Mr. Carter warned plaintiff not to proceed, referencing the Smiths' powerful connections across law enforcement, media, political circles, and the judiciary. Okay. His reach is there. Around that time, Charlie Mack, acting at the express direction of defendant, instructed a mutual friend, Kenneth Duman, to reach to plaintiff to relay that Jada was willing to pay plaintiff to recant his statements. Plaintiff was provided a pre-scripted public statement drafted by Charlie, outlining exactly what plaintiff was urged to post on social media. He should have receipts for this. Admitting that he lied. He should have receipts for this. All of this should be receipts. There should be some timestamps, some dates, something should be here. These attempts to bribe, threaten, and suppress plaintiff into redacting the truthful statements, including defendant's alleged relationship with Mark Anthony, in a role in Scientology. Girl, hold up. Wait. These attempts to bribe, threaten, and suppress plaintiff into redacting truthful disclosures, including defendant's alleged relationship with Mark Anthony, her role in Scientology, and Will Smith's alleged relationship with Dwayne Martin, constitutes extreme, outrageous conduct, bordering on witness tampering and obstruction of justice. I think he was supposed to write a book, if I remember correctly. Hold up, because I did see that Aaron was talking about that. Give me one sec. Brother Bilaal. Now I'm here for it. Book. What is the release date? See, I see Tasha she hasn't featured on her website too, y'all. Hold up. So wait, damages, financial reputational harm. Uh, Brother Bilaal suffered from deteriorating physical health, including a 100-pound weight gain, high blood pressure, PTSD. Plaintiff was actively in talks to release a whistleblower memoir that was projected to earn up to $500 million in advance payments and royalties. So, a plaintiff endured severe personal hardship, including being forced to self exile for nearly 2 years. Lord have mercy. So, he is suing for, oh man, excuse me, 500,000, not 500 million, 500,000 in advance payments and 3 million. Plaintiff estimates total value of all of the reputational emotional harm is 3 million. Exceeds 3 million. Plaintiff reserves the right to amend this estimate pending discovery and full evaluation of continuing impact of defendant's misconduct. Damn. Okay. Um that's where we're at. Now hold up. I do wonder about this book. You think that I think it's highly time this Scientology ish got banned and made illegal, don't y'all, right, Jane? He is writing a book, but when is it gonna be released? That is the question. So here I have, is this so he's featured on Tasha K's website. All right, now. To me, honestly, like the fact that Tasha is showing him on the website, I think it says a lot, right? It says that she's definitely in support to make sure that he gets his his information out. 38 years with Will and Jada. A memoir. Paperback ready to ship. So is it ready now? Are people receiving Bilaal brother $32.99? And it says 38 years with Will and Jada. I'm a whistleblower is a groundbreaking memoir by Brother Bilaal, who has been close friends of Will for nearly 40 years and has assisted him on numerous projects. In the compelling account, Brother Bilaal leaves no stone unturned, delving into the complex realities of Scientology, open marriage, infidelity, SA, and abuse. He also exposes how Will and Jada will do whatever it takes to protect their public persona, challenging everything you thought you knew about them and revealing the hidden truths behind their public image. This is not a gossip book, but real accounts from a person that was there and witnessed unthinkable acts. This book will surely be banned. Get your copy today now. Now hold up. Here's my question, dude. Like, why didn't Jada and Will sue when they said we'll sue? Because they could have sued to stop the selling of this book. Yeah, you do you, boo. But I have to kind of wonder, like, why didn't they? You have to wonder. Because Jada said we're suing. Remember, or I'm suing, or some whatever the hell she said. She said that. So why not sue? If somebody is lying on you, like, listen, I am that. You can have your free speech. I'm all for free speech, but don't lie on me. Don't lie on me and don't put false allegations on me, right? If Brother Bilaal had worked as an assistant for that many years, right? And he's out there and he's putting his truth, right? And if I was Jada and I'm thinking in my mind, like, that never happened, he never did this, he never worked, I'm going to sue you for lying on my name. That's what I would do. I would sue, but he hasn't been sued, right? Because it'll all come out in discovery. The discovery part, there you go. That's how I am. You lie on me, I'm going to sue. I'm sorry. I'm like, especially with something like that. And sexuality is a huge thing when it comes to like allegations, right? Now, it's interesting because I don't feel like I said, they have an open marriage. I think that they've been very public about that. Hence why they never really got divorced. They're married, they've always kind of whatever, consenting adults are going to do consenting adult things. But anything that could damage that involves children. I mean, I hope it was reported, and I don't think that's the case here. You said they'd have to investigate the claims, then the truth will come out. That's what I'm saying. It's like that's what the discovery situation is for. We're gonna find out, right? But my thing is like if you're not worried, if you're not afraid, then hey man, like you do what you do, right? Hold up, y'all. I gotta answer this call. Give me 1 second. Ooh, 1 second. Baby bunny time. You say, yeah, they're Tarzan friends. um they Tarzan fans, they swingers, says James. I feel bad for August Alsina. I don't feel like he ever really recovered from that situation. I think, man, that would be an interesting video on August Alsina. People, sure, people have done stuff to him, but I think August Alsina has always been kind of like damaged after that situation. Um, yeah. You said, yeah, the rabbit, the Smiths won't sue because it's true. You lying on me and you're saying all this ish, I'm going to sue you. I am. I'm gonna make you prove your claims in court. That's what I would do. Because not only that, like, can you imagine, if you put a family through something like if any of this is not true. And that's what I'm saying. I'm like, you know, maybe where there's smoke, there's fire. Maybe there's something more here. Or I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens. You said down the rabbit hole news, rabbit is speaking LOL. Y'all are crazy. Dropping the pineapples. Oh, Lord have mercy. Right? Because I'm saying, like, bro, I mean, I hope Brother Bilaal is staying, in a safe place. I think that the lawsuit, that I honestly think there's some merit to his lawsuit. There's a lot that he's not disclosing. My only concern is I probably would have added another, like, what is it? What's the word? Not just the IIED. I don't know if he consulted with the lawyer on this, but I probably would have added another count to this complaint, and I think it would have probably been some kind of California employment law thing. But then again, since he's filing on his own, he needs to read up on that, and that'll help him kind of navigate, especially if he had contract or if he's lost any work. Because not only was he friends, but he also received work from other celebrities and stuff like that. Yeah, something like some kind of, I don't know if he knows. Like, I would look into figure out the employment law, specifically the California Labor Code 1102.5, right? The penal code. I would look into the whistleblower part because he does talk about it, but I think that could in itself be a count. You don't always have to have a written contract to be a considered an employee. Does that make sense? People make contracts all the time. We make verbal contracts. This is why you have to be careful when you speak. You don't always have to shake somebody's hand for a contract. I took a legal contract course a couple years ago, and I learned about contracts. It really made me think about how I speak in terms of like making sure I don't like fall into a contract, So look into the codes and stuff like that. Not that kind of code, but the other codes. You know what I mean, Fox. All right, guys, I gotta let you guys go. James, thank you for the $2. Should we organize a GoFundMe for Carlton? I was not expecting the Carlton part. Not penile. Penal. Was that an accident? Probably not. Yo, I'm sorry. James. I was not expecting that Carlton part kind of took me out. I was like, Carlton's involved here? Lord have mercy. I was not ready for that. Anyways, thank you for the $2. We will not start a GoFundMe for that. All right, you guys have a great day. Hit the like button if you're watching the replay. Show some love. Thank you. We got some court documents that definitely we got to review. But let me know. I might cut this Brother Bilaal lawsuit a little bit shorter and make it into a shorter video because it's an interesting lawsuit. I'll say that much. I do feel like he's got a point, and there's a reason why there's pushback. I don't know. I'm just saying. It's weird. I will see you guys on the next one. All right. Hit the like button. Bye, guys. Thanks for supporting.